Welcome to Second Act Sisters with Brook and Kiora. We're so glad you're here. In this episode, we'll uncover practical tips to help you embrace the exciting empty nester phase and define the new you in the new year. Whether you're looking to rediscover hobbies, set new goals, or strengthen your bond with your partner, this episode is your guide to making the most of 2025. So grab some leftover Christmas treats and let's create some realistic goals together.
We are so glad that you are joining us as we explore setting meaningful goals, strengthening relationships, and creating a fulfilling new year. Can you believe it's already the new year?
No.
We're so close. So let's rediscover purpose and possibility together. Let's set ourselves up for success in 2025.
Yes.
But first, how about our whys?
Yes. First, our whys. What's yours?
You want to go first?
Oh, I can go first.
Okay.
My why this episode right now is I feel like I'm still growing and becoming and that I'm not a finished product yet. And I think that's true for every person, right? We're not done. Even after we die, we're not done. But having something that I am working on, whether it's a goal to learn something new or a reconnection of something that I've enjoyed in the past, but I've kind of let it go. Having something that I'm working on is important in remembering that I'm not a finished product and I'm still changing and growing and becoming who I want to be. So that's my why.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. We're always a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this last year, I've been on a journey with my health, and it's taken a lot of stepping outside of my comfort zone and doing things I don't like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I was able to wrap it up this week.
Ooh,
I know.
nice.
And so it's not perfect. There's always room to grow. But I made it through the initial part of all the things. And so my health has been part of my ongoing journey.
Mm-hmm.
I now have grandbabies and stuff that need me.
Yeah.
And so I have to take care of me in order to take care of them.
You need to push that button that Adam has that goes, yay, the cheering one. You need to push that button. Do you know which one it is?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Yay.
No idea.
That is awesome.
Anyway, it's been a week.
Congratulations.
But I got the last phone call today.
Yay. I'm so happy. We'll have to talk more about that next week when we're together.
Okay. So, okay, go ahead.
Okay. So when you think about setting New Year's resolutions, right? I kind of cringe when I hear the whole New Year's resolution thing, because we all know what happens. You plan something that's on such a big scale that you can't achieve it. And by week 3, you've forgotten all about it and you're no longer doing anything to work towards it, right? Yep. I mean, or is that just me?
Well, and always it's like the exercise goal.
Always. Oh my goodness. I worked at the Dimple Dell Rec Center when my kids were little in the daycare. And you always knew that January 2nd, because they weren't open on New Year's Day, that you had to get there early if you wanted a parking spot that didn't require you to do a 3-mile run to get to the fitness center to do your stuff for the day and then leave, But it was so funny because that first week it was so packed, not a machine empty, not a class empty, so packed. And by the end of the week, I'm not kidding you, 5 days later, half capacity. And by the end of the second week, we were back to the original numbers that we were in December. So
so funny. Don't set yourself up for failure with that one.
No. So my big thing when I am thinking about setting a goal, I don't use the word resolution because it makes me cringe. Like I said, I just set goals and I make a list of meaningful things I want to achieve, like your health, right? Health. There's always something in my health category, always. But it needs to be something that's really meaningful and that you really care about and really want. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to start going to the gym if you don't like going to the gym. If you don't like to do it, you're not going to do it, whether you've set a goal or not. And to do it in little chunks. Do not plan for the whole year. Plan for like the first quarter of 2025.
Yeah.
Put it into bite-sized chunks. How about you?
Spread it out over the year, but organize it and have it written down so you know where you're at.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know me, I'm all about my list.
Oh, I love lists. A good list is,
love lists. So, and to connect your goals to personal values. So it has a purpose. Yes. Celebrate the small wins.
Yes.
Use visual reminders. For me, that equals a checklist. Yep. For others, it might be a vision board.
For me, it's reminders on my phone that ping off and say, remember you're working on this today.
That's awesome.
Or emails to myself. I do that a lot, actually.
And I love a vision board. I'm not any good at it.
I love it too. It's so satisfying to look at, but I'm also not good at it. I kind of am terrible.
Yeah. Incorporate your faith. Pray for guidance. Pray for help, dedication, whatever speaks to you. You don't have to do it alone.
And ask your spouse or someone in your family for a blessing.
Yes.
If it's something you really want, ask for a blessing.
Get all the strength and backing you can get.
Yeah.
And focus on growth.
Yes. Yes. Focus on growth. And go back and review your goals, because sometimes you start working on something and it might morph into this other thing that you're like, ooh, that just woke me all up inside and made me feel all tingly and excited. So I'm going to work on that instead. So make sure you're reviewing and changing or keeping yourself accountable. Yeah.
Well, and that's when that accountability partner comes in, whether it's your spouse or, whoever, if your kids, if you're doing something with them, or
your best
in our case,
girlfriend who's a cousin, your marriage. Oh, and I think it's also important to look at your list. And if you see something that's like a repeat offender on your list, really ask yourself what has worked and what has not worked in the past so that you can make that goal truly realistic and attainable, not just a pipe dream. Because like if I'm going to say, I'm going to get back into my wedding dress, it's not ever going to happen. And it's okay. Why do I need to be back in my wedding dress?
You don't need that.
These
bodies have birthed kids.
Right? And thank heavens, because they're wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will take them over the wedding dress fitting.
Amen.
So, okay. How about some real life examples of some success you've had?
Okay. So, last year, we talked about this and I've already forgotten. I think it was last year that my word was create. And I feel like it gave me permission to really just go all in on my business and not worry about what anybody on Instagram or Facebook thought about the products I was making, but just make things that brought me joy. And our business grew because I had confidence in the product, I think. So that was a success for me. Also, changing the way I did my personal scripture study. This wasn't last year, this was a few years ago, but I changed it to in the morning while I was getting ready, because I would listen to things in the morning while I was getting ready. And I thought, why am I not listening to conference talks or some kind of music or a podcast that's about Come Follow Me or, all of these things. Yeah. And I changed the way I did that. And I started listening to scriptures in the morning, and it totally changed my whole life because my whole day started out on the right foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So noticing what really speaks to you and the things you really have a desire to accomplish in your life, noticing those things and paying attention and letting go of the silly stuff.
Well, and I think so much of our goals at the first part of the year are silly things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I've chosen my word for next year. My word this last year was simplify. And as you know, the year changes and it didn't happen. My life did not simplify.
No.
So my word for next year, because we always pick a word that's our focus for the next year. And mine is going to be intentional.
I love it. I have not picked mine yet. I usually wait until December, sometime middle of December, to start thinking about mine. My word last year was discover. And I've discovered a lot of things. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, mine's going to be intentional. And that's
really
something
like
I feel like can follow me throughout the year. Simplify wasn't able to follow me throughout the year.
That one would be a hard one. I think, especially as a young grandmother, I think that would be really unattainable.
There's so many things that are out of your control.
I think you'd have to get dial it in and simplify what? Like one thing. I think you'd have to be pretty specific with that one at your stage. Maybe if you had grandkids that were like 18 or 19 or something, you could go with simplify overall, but
3-year-olds and little baby boys.
Babies, and little babies. Oh, they're so cute. I can't wait to see them next week. Yeah.
So that's my word for next year. Intentional. Everything. Everything. And what are some of the ways that you remember what your word is? So
I always write it in my planner. And then I forget that I wrote it in my planner. No, I'm just kidding. In the past, I have cut it out of vinyl on my Cricut machine and put it on my wall, like where I'm looking all day when I'm at work from home or in my office creating.
That's brilliant.
I didn't do that this year. I didn't do it this year. Really? That's why I was like, what's my word?
Yeah, I know. I was like, don't remember. So last year's word was definitely impactful, you know?
Yeah.
But I need you to print mine out for this next year because I put it on my computer and I'm going to put it on a couple mirrors, I think.
I should just bring the Cricut with me when I come next.
You should.
And then we can just set up all the things and it can just be cutting away while we're doing other things.
Yep. Do it.
Okay.
It's not too much work to bring it. But that's how I remember.
We can put it on the bar, on the island, because there's all that room on the one side. Where
we have a little coffee table or folding table.
Okay. If it's big enough. Yeah. It's got to be big enough for the 24-inch long mat to slide in and out.
Okay.
As it cuts, because it's a big word. I mean,
yeah,
is a big boy. So yeah, I'll bring it though. And I'll bring some vinyl. I've got some glitter vinyl. I've got some hot pink vinyl. I've got red. I've got black. Yeah, I'll bring it.
So we're obviously spending Thanksgiving together, if you hadn't guessed.
Yes, we are. And we're so excited.
And this will not go out until December. So bear with us.
Yeah. Maybe we'll post pictures of our words once they're on our walls.
So how do you go about picking your goals?
So I kind of keep a journal, not in a traditional journaling kind of way. In my planner, there's places to write things that are happening during the week. And I kind of go and review my emotions that I'm writing down, that I'm journaling, and my experiences. And that's kind of how I choose to say, oh, I see that I'm lacking here, or I see that I'm struggling with this, and I really want to improve this in my life. So that's usually how I do it. And last year I chose Discover because I have done years of therapy, but I had just started what they call coaching with a woman that has become a really great friend. And we're actually going to have her on our podcast in a few episodes. So we're so excited. She's amazing. And if you've never had, I really hate to use the term life coach because there's such a stigma with that. But if you have never had a coach before, and you can put the word life coach with that, life with the coach, I really, really, really recommend doing it at least for a few months, try it out. And I wanted to discover how I could change my brain activity. I do not know how to say this. I'm totally like flubbing up, but stay with me. Your brain is a big muscle, and just like any other muscle in your body, if you only work the muscle one way, then your bulging bicep or whatever, it's only going to be bulging in one spot if you only work it one way, right? But if you figure out how to work it in different ways, then you're going to have muscle strength in different ways. Your bicep can do pretty crazy things, but not if you're not exercising it all the way, right? So I wanted to learn how to retrain my brain to react to things in my life and not be so emotional and not be so quick to react to things and quick to do the same thing I've always been doing when something happens in my life that's hard or that's new or that just throws me off my chosen path for the moment, for the time being. So that's why I decided to start this coaching. And so my word became discover, because I wanted to discover how I could change my thinking patterns and the way my brain worked. And it has been quite the journey. I've learned so much, and I feel so much calm and peace in my life because of how I'm learning to react and to think about things. So, yeah.
Well, I've met with her a few times myself, and she is amazing.
Isn't she, though? Like, the questions she asks you when you're saying, I'm worried about this. And, anyway. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, she is. She really is. Mm-hmm. So I can appreciate that. I get that.
How do you choose yours?
I don't know that I have a specific. I tend this time of year, because I get my new planner and I'm all about my planner. Mm-hmm. So I start filling it in. And so I've been making a running list of things I want to work on next year as they've come to mind. And so right before the new year, I will go back through the list because it keeps getting longer and see what really is attainable and what, be really intentional with my choices.
Yeah.
And then
intentional is a good one.
And some of them, for me, they take all year, but like it's going to the temple every week.
Right.
Even if it's not every week, but if I get there 52 times next year,
right,
it's perfect.
Right. Yeah. I love that. And it causes you to pause in the things that you're doing and ask, is this really what I want to be doing? Because you're focused and your brain is thinking intentional. That's what you're programming your brain to think.
Yes.
So that's really cool. I like that one.
Well, and we talked about revisiting some things that we used to love to do. And I love to read. And it takes a back seat in my life all the time. And so next year, I'm going to be really intentional and make that a priority.
That's awesome.
Kind of like the temple.
I want that to be one of my priorities. 52 books.
If 1 week it's a lot of reading to grandchild, you know what? I'm going to count one of them.
That's good. Yeah, I want reading to be one of those things I pick back up because I do love it. But right now, my reading is pretty much come follow me. That's all I read right now. It seems like there isn't. But
yeah,
I do want to get back to reading some books. There are a few that have come up in speaking with coworkers that I'm like, I have got to read that book. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I'm trying to teach myself to read more than one book at a time. It's okay.
That's what I do usually, but since I started this job, I have not been able to even focus long enough. Like I don't know what my problem is. I can't even get into them. So
Well, and
I'll get back there.
I've decided there's nothing wrong with a good Audible.
I know. I need to be better at that. I have this thing about actually holding the book and flipping the
I love
pages.
holding the book and flipping the pages.
And they smell so good.
And I love my Kindle where I don't have to store all the books.
Yeah.
It's just on there, or I have taught myself to learn to listen to them because I can do a lot of things while listening to a book.
Yep. I'll put that on my list of things to work on for this year.
Audible it is.
Audible, yeah.
And just so you know, that ADHD is awesome. It's such a good book.
Isn't that such a good book?
Such a good book.
I also read one last year called You Mean I'm Not Broken, Stupid, or Lazy? It was an ADHD book. And I was like, yeah, I needed that one. That hit that. Yeah, all of the boxes were ticked on that one for me. I'm like, okay, good. I'm normal. So another way that I go about choosing my goals for the year or my word for the year is just being in tune with things that I hear other people say, oh, I learned how to crochet. And I'm like, oh, I want to learn how to crochet. So I'll write that down. Or I want to go skydiving. And I'm like, that's a definite pass for me. So that's not going, so just being aware, self-discovery, aware of what the passions are, that kind of thing. Well,
and some of them are just so far out there that I'm not going to do them. I'm just not. So those aren't going to make the list this year.
No, I don't think skydiving will ever make my list.
No, going up in those beautiful balloons I watch from my house, not going to make my list.
Oh, I want to do that. 1 year for my birthday, we are doing that. I mean, you do not have to come. You can take the pictures.
Will take pictures from below.
Paul and I are going to do it.
Okay.
Whether he likes it or not.
One of those togetherness things, right?
That's right. So do you have any tips then for finding new hobbies and interests?
Okay. Trying to.
I know you kind of talked about revisiting old interests that you gave up.
Yeah.
Do you have any that you gave up other than reading that you want to work on?
Okay. So for this year, I really don't. Some of them are more related to where I am now in life, but reading is one that I really miss. Mm-hmm. I do want to simplify my house. That's all.
What does that involve?
For me, that involves cleaning out. Becoming really good friends with Deseret Industries.
Yeah. I have 3 bags right now.
I was there today.
Oh.
Yep.
Why didn't you take mine with?
It's a little far. And that's a big one. And if I don't get it, I don't know. It's probably one of those that's always a work in progress. But it's an intentional one that I want to make sure is a priority for me.
Yeah. For sure.
So, and this is a silly one, but I want to work on public speaking skills.
That's not a silly one.
Like Adam can get up there with no notes and talk for 20 minutes. I have my notes and I'm looking at him and I'm like, you get a little peek as I look up and look back down. I'm not sure how I'm going to achieve that one yet. I haven't figured that out yet, but
you need more speaking opportunities to make that become a reality.
Well, look at us go.
Yeah. I mean, this is huge. You're speaking to a potential audience of thousands, tens of thousands, potentially.
Potentially. We have no idea, right?
We have no idea. Yeah. So this is great. I mean, you're not looking at them, but maybe it'll help.
It's still
You'll have to let me know.
Okay. Well, hopefully it will become obvious as the year goes.
Yeah. I also struggle with that. It just depends on the topic. Like if it's a topic I'm comfortable with and confident in, fine. I'm fine. I can sit and talk. No big deal. I can present. But if it's something that I do not feel confident in, Man.
Well, I'm
I
really bad about convincing myself everybody else knows more than I do. So,
yeah. Imposter syndrome is real.
yep.
Oh, um, you have something else on your list that I'm curious about.
The peace of mind planning.
What is that?
So I was talking to my son and he's like, do you have any of these health documents in case anything happens?
Yeah.
And I've seen, I don't know where I saw it, but this lady talk about having everything prepared for her family.
Paul and I did that about 2 years ago and did a trust and put it all in the trust. So
we have failed. We have not done it. And that's going to happen this year. Yep.
Paul's wishes for when he passes are currently illegal in the state of Utah. So he will not be having a Viking funeral where you put his deceased body on a ship and light the ship on fire and set for sale across the Great Salt Lake. So I don't know where that's going to happen, but that's what his wish is. But he does have a backup plan, so that's good.
Adam wants a taco bar on top of the casket. So,
I'm not having a casket at mine, so that's fine. Okay. I'm choosing to be cremated, so.
Well, good for you.
I just want a party. I just want a celebration of life and everybody get together and eat good food because that's what I would love to do and listen to good music.
Yeah, maybe it's a little morbid to think this direction, but I think we learned a lot through COVID of what is really important with a funeral and what I want. And so it's all changed. So I think I better.
You better get it written down. You'll have to share that with me next week too. I got to know the plans.
Are you making lists?
I will make a list for you of that if you want me to. I'm not planning to outlive you or anything, but
I'm
pass on to my kids.
But Paul's old.
Yeah, he's old. So I like the simplifying your house thing. I'm also trying to do that. And it's really hard because my house is already so small that I feel like I'm getting rid of everything every time I declutter. But it feels so good. It does.
Well, and we just have so much.
Yeah. That
we really don't need.
So this year in our family of 6, just Paul and I and the kids, we are not gifting to each other, like to everybody. We're not buying 6 different gifts, or 5, I guess, each. We drew names actually, and everybody wrote down a list of things that they would like that can be made by the person who drew their name or acts of service, because we just don't need stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting this year. I mean, Santa will still come and bring some things, of course, but it's going to be interesting this year to see what Christmas is like with acts of service or homemade things. I'm quite excited. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Wait to see how it goes.
Yeah, me too.
I get enough to do it.
Right? I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
My kids still call and say, Mom, this is what I want for Christmas.
Oh, my mom keeps bugging me for my list. Sorry, Mom. I'll get it to you. I promise. I worked on it a little bit, so I'll get it.
I just love that my kids call me.
Well, yeah.
Like, Mom's still buying presents.
Yeah. Because they're in that stage where they can't afford it themselves. So Mom's got to
exactly
kick it in, and we're happy to do it,
Oh yeah.
I'm sure that the narrative will change once my kids have houses and they're living in their own spaces, because right now one lives with me.
It's really expensive to do that, and they still need.
Yep, and that will be fine. We're always changing and growing and pivoting. Yeah.
So, what are a few of yours?
So the decluttering thing, connecting more with our kids. So finding more opportunities to spend time with them, not necessarily going anywhere like spending money, but just spending time with each other. And that's hard when your kids are going to school full time and working full time.
Yep.
We do get together on Thursday nights, but that just doesn't feel like enough for me. I want more connection and more time. So figuring that out. And then I have some goals on my business. I want to do more markets next year. So just figuring out how to get enough product made on hand so it's not like,
yeah, we need it
staying up till midnight every night. Yeah. So trying to find that balance and introduce new products. So yeah.
That's great.
And becoming more familiar with the Doctrine and Covenants, because that's what we're studying. And so I'm sure my job will have me knee deep in it soon enough. So I want to get a little jump start on that.
Okay. So I put some thought into how do we navigate changes within our relationships with our adult children in regards to reconnecting with ourselves and our goals for next year.
Yes.
And you mentioned reconnecting with your kids, or connecting with your kids, and setting up things to do with them. And, one of my kids and I had a goal of doing something this year, and we call and check on each other. And so I think there's fun ways you can do it, but there's still honoring their independence.
Yes. Which is so hard.
Being available to them, but not overstepping boundaries.
Yep. That's huge. That's huge.
So, but it's fun to set some goals with them. And when we did it, we, really communicated our expectations. And I will be honest, I failed. She did amazing.
Oh, I doubt you failed.
No, I kind of did. But I will accept that. I will embrace that. That was what happened. But I think it was good for her because I still checked in with her. So
that's awesome.
To encourage them. And just as when they were little and we did things so they saw our example, it still works today. Once a parent, always a parent. So if your children can see you thriving, they're inspired to pursue their own goals with confidence.
It's true. That just today, I was with my daughter. We went to Hobby Lobby. We were looking for something specific for my outer space tree for Christmas. And I just brought up that there is a certain anniversary happening tomorrow. That's a pretty big deal for me. It's been 30 years in the making. And this time of year is kind of hard because I know it's there. And like subconsciously, I kind of worry that I'm going to revert back into bad behaviors, but like I haven't, and it's going to be 30 years. And she just said, you're thriving, which is a word you have written in your notes, and you're doing great, Mom. And I said, yes, I am. I love that. I accepted that. And it's important because we want them to own that.
Yeah.
When they have a success and we give them that feedback and say they're doing awesome, we want them to say, yeah, I know I am. Thank you. So we do have to model that. It's important.
They need to see us sometimes not achieve the goal. And that's okay.
This particular goal, my kids do not need to see me not achieve it, though.
But yeah, we need to be that kind of example to them. As always, example as parents.
Yeah.
Motivate them. So I know for New Year's Eve, you do some of that with your family.
We do. Yeah. I do a printout every year for them to help discover their own word. I ask them some prompts, some leading questions. And then on the back side of the thing that I print out is a place for them to narrow down, like you start out with 5 or 6 words and then you narrow it down to 3 and then you narrow it down to 1. And then once they've got it figured out, then I'll print it out nice for them if they want to share. If they want to keep it private, I do not. I honor that boundary and say, you have my support. I don't need to know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it one year where I did gather them all and I just stashed them away till the next year and we pulled them out and it was fun to go back.
That's really cool. I bet that was fun.
So this year.
Did they laugh or did they?
They did. It was before My daughter and her fiance were even, well, her husband now. I think it was before they were even engaged.
Oh,
And that
wow.
was one of his goals.
I think that was 3 Christmases ago, because I think I remember sending you a file to
Yes.
print out. Okay. Yep.
So it was cute. It's fun to go back and look.
Yeah. And I love that you pointed out communicating expectations, especially when it comes around to connecting with ourselves and what we're trying to do on a personal level. Telling your kids what your goals are and what you're working on, we need those cheerleaders, and we also need them to give us space and room to do what we're trying to do. And that's important. If they don't know we're working on something, the mom is still going to happen, whether they're 25 or 5.
Yep.
So if they know, hey, Tuesday night is my night for this, then they're going to respect that. And unless it's an emergency, you shouldn't hehear the mom.
It's amazing the few times I don't make it to the temple on Wednesday mornings, how quiet my phone is.
Mm-hmm. Because they know.
That's where you're supposed to be, Mom.
And then you're like, hey, why aren't you guys talking to me
today?
And then they come back. You're supposed to be in the temple.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, we've shared tips on breaking goals into manageable steps, incorporating faith, and celebrating progress. Talked about how to discover and revisit old passions, navigate relationships with adult children, and communicate your needs with your family. Hopefully, some of our real-life examples and advice will inspire you to embrace the new year with purpose and confidence.
Yes. So, my little call to action or wrap up, whatever you want to call it, for this episode, I really encourage you all to do the exercise. Sit down, write out 6 words of things that describe what you're working on or what you want to work on or who you're trying to become, and really process through those words. Pare it down to 4 or 3, and then pare it down to 1, and define a word that describes how you want to define yourself in the new year. And make it manageable. And then if you feel like you want to share it, please go on to our Instagram or our Facebook and share it, and use the hashtag Empty Nest Adventures when you do it. I think I stole that from you. Sorry, Kiora. But
No, you're fine.
I know it can seem kind of crazy and overwhelming, but I also know, because I've done it for myself and Kiora has too, that it is totally tangible. It's tangible to make new goals and achieve them if you just do it in little bite-sized pieces. So go out there and define the new you. Become who you want to be.
So we're so glad you joined us.
Yes.
Wishing you the best in the new year as we continue our journey with this podcast and other things that we've got going on. We hope you will follow with us. Absolutely. So like, subscribe, and share. Isn't that what they all say?
Yep. Like, subscribe, and share. That's right. Yeah.
Catch places and bring your friends. We want to make more friends.
Please bring your friends.
And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.
True. Yes, we are here. We are so wise. We will answer your questions.
So wise. We know.
So wise. We're also really humble. Happy New Year.
Okay, we love you.
We love you.
See you later. See you in the new year.
Yeah. See you next year.